Hey, what's up, guys? It's your man, Sean Zittel. Just got done watching an electrifying, scintillating, spectacular performance, knockout in 6 rounds for David Benavidez over Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez to become a unified cruiserweight champ. Now, let me get right to it. That's what the fuck I'm talking about, okay? That's what the fuck I'm talking about. People in the comments are always saying, Sean, why are you so negative? Why can't you just celebrate when our favorite fighters do this or our favorite fighters do that? It's because I'm old enough, fortunately or unfortunately, at almost 35, to remember when fighters really put on masterpieces. Fighters really put on spectacular performances. I'm talking prime De La Hoya or even prime Shane Mosley, Felix Trinidad, Floyd Mayweather against Diego Corrales or Arturo Gatti, right? Speaking of Arturo Gatti, he wasn't a pound-for-pound elite kind of fighter, just like Gilberto Zurdo Ramirez, two-time champion, a guy that, is quality, but it was the way Mayweather beat Gotti in 2005, and it was the way that David Benavidez beat Gilberto Ramirez tonight. Terrence versus Canelo, that was his own masterclass. Shakur versus Tio, Inoue beat Nakatani, Usyk and Fury, all really good performances, don't get me wrong, but that's what the fuck I'm talking about. What David Benavidez just did to Gilberto Ramirez. I said in the breakdown after the weigh-in that yesterday, expect some James Toney-like stuff from David Benavidez. I didn't think he'd dispatch of him in 6 rounds. This was his best performance yet. I think the pacing he had in this fight was brilliant. Knowing he was up in weight, he didn't throw too many punches too early, and he relied on his defense a lot. Did some good James Toney-like defense, paced himself, found his jab, and then the hand speed ringside was absolutely insane. I mean, he's one of the fastest fighters in boxing of any weight class, but to have hand speed like that at 200 pounds, the dexterity on the punches, he hurts Zurdo by switching southpaw in the 4th round, hits him with a straight left hand, then follows it up with ridiculous combinations. I mean, electrifying stuff, like Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya type fucking combinations. And eventually drops him with a right hand, hitting him with every punch in the book. The left hook in the inside was money, and just puts together some beautiful offense. He is one of the most offensively prolific fighters in the game. You know what it is. And the fans like what they came to see. So, there was a lot of talk this week about, is he really a real Mexican and all that stuff. Look, Julio Cesar Chavez was on the fence about it when I asked him back in Thursday after the press conference. I don't think he's on the fence now. He hugged David Benavidez in the ring right after the fight. So this kid has a chance. This man has a chance to be the best Mexican-American fighter since Oscar De La Hoya. He's that good. He has that kind of scintillating hand speed like Oscar had in combination punching. But Zurdo, he tried to give, and I said before the fight, Zurdo was accepting his role as a supporting actor, and that's exactly what he did in this fight. He tried to give David his own medicine in rounds 2 and 3 and had some success doing it. He gave David some of his own medicine. He pressured him, he pressed him as the bigger man, tried to take away some of his range, but unfortunately for him, David Benavidez is an excellent inside fighter. And whenever he wanted to, he would pick his spots with combinations. The short left hook couldn't miss. There was times, even on the inside, he would find the dexterity to hit him with a power jab. So, and people always talk about David squaring his feet up, but he makes it work for him in a way that's very creative and dynamic. And that's why he even went as far as switching southpaw a couple times. So then into the 6th round, Benavidez, after dropping him in the 4th, went back to pacing himself. I think this was the best he ever paced himself in a fight, better than David Morrell or Caleb Plant or any of those fights. And part of it was he had a much more stationary target in front of him. Guys like Vosdick, guys like Morrell, Yard, Plant, even Andrade, who he knocked out in the same amount of rounds. These guys all give him a lot of movement. Zurdo, carrying 200 plus pounds, wasn't going to be on his bike, wasn't going to be moving that much. And so it allowed Benavidez to shine the brightest he's ever shined. And he rose to the occasion. This was his first time having one of the big dates. And I said yesterday, last time I checked, whoever has these dates is the motherfucking man. And that this was his audition to prove that he's actually the man. And I think he's actually the motherfucking man now. That kind of performance is going to be put on highlight reels for the mainstream sports fans, for casual fans. You know, fights like Inoue Nakatani and Shakur Tiafimo and other fights, they were excellent. I mean, those excellent performances, but it's not the kind of thing that's going to capture the imagination of the mainstream public. And what Benavidez did there will. And you know, the crowd was actually smaller than it was for the David Morrell fight, which surprised me, but I don't think that'll be the case moving forward. So yeah, man, I think that was one of the best performed. Crawford Spence in this fight, you know, shit, even believe it or not, like Broner DeMarco back in Atlantic City when I covered that fight 14 years ago was sensational. I'm leaving out a number of brilliant performances, but just off the top of my head, those are some of the ones that come to mind immediately in fights I've attended. Again, Zurdo's not the best cruiserweight in the world. Jai Opetaia is. Jai Opetaia is the toughest fight out there for David Benavidez. But I think it's smart for him to go back to light heavyweight right now. For a Jai Opetaia fight, he would have to grow into the weight class a little bit because Zurdo was clearly the bigger man. But I think that Benavidez is the better fighter than Jai Opetaia pound for pound. But fights aren't fought in a pound for pound sense. They would be fought in the 200-pound weight class where Opetaia is athletic and punches very hard and has really good movement and is a better southpaw than Zurdo Ramirez, who laid an egg tonight, but was just outgunned by a special talent in his prime. So these dates now I think are going to belong to David Benavidez. He called out Canelo after the fight, but the real legacy fight is fighting the man that beat Canelo, fighting the great Dmitry Bivol, one of the all-time light heavyweights, one of the elite pound-for-pound fighters in the game. But David Benavidez is one of the elite pound-for-pound fighters in the game. And Benavidez is 5 or 6 years younger than Bivol. I think he beats Bivol. I think he beats Beterbiev. And with time, he could beat Opetaia. Maybe he could beat him right now. But I do think north of the super welterweight division, south of the heavyweight division, David Benavidez is the premier fighter in boxing and is now one of the faces of boxing. And I think this was his audition show. He got an A+, he killed it. And he will be one of the premier fighters. But yeah, really excellent defense, really excellent pacing. And then his trademark sizzling hand speed. That was the kind of stuff I absolutely love to see. So from the T-Mobile Arena, gonna go to the post-fight press conference, see what David's talking about. But that's what the fuck I'm talking about. Thanks everybody for watching. Peace.